Hello everybody, hope you're all doing well. My name is Steven and this is the Storytime channel. We've got some entitled parents to read about, so let's jump right into our first story of the day by I Love Me 39. Entitled Parents, Leave Everything You Have to Our Children. I'm 39, successful, and am quite well off. My siblings sadly are not. My brother, 42, has 3 children. My sister, 35, also has 3, with 1 on the way. My youngest sister, 28, is married and pregnant, but she had nothing to do with the events of this post. We were all raised to believe that money doesn't matter and all you need is a happy marriage and lots of kids to live a happy life. Being poor and having lots of kids was somehow glorified. Maybe because that's the way our parents lived and wanted to convince themselves that they didn't freak up. Fortunately for me, I didn't buy into that nonsense. I always knew I never wanted children. I focused on my career and on achieving success. Today, I have my own house, wonderful pets, and a loving boyfriend. My family, however, seems to think that there's something wrong with my lifestyle. My parents have often commented that my 5-bedroom house is empty without any kids running around. My siblings often tell me I'm selfish for not having kids and actually enjoying my life. However, their disdain for my selfish lifestyle doesn't stop them from begging for money. My brother and sister have called me and asked me to help pay their bills. Now, if it's something serious like clothes or school supplies for their kids, I'm willing to pitch in, but I always refuse when I'm asked to pay for trips to amusement parks, etc. I also paid for my parents to stay in a high-end assisted living facility. They're my parents. I felt that I owed them this much. I have moved them to a less luxurious facility because of something horrible they did. I'll make a post about that too if you're interested. However, I couldn't help but feel insulted when they sang praises for my siblings for breeding and following in their footsteps, and how my parents wish I had done the same. As if among all their kids, I'm the biggest disappointment. For this reason, I've distanced myself from them. I only call or visit to check up on them and don't let them be a part of my life. The other day, I got a call from my sister asking if she, her husband, my brother, and his wife could come over. I said okay. They asked me to leave my fortune to their kids in equal portions. And if I did, they would stop asking me for financial help. They said this as if they were doing me a favor. "You don't have kids, so who you gonna leave it to?" asked my brother. I told them I was going to leave my money to charities and that I don't owe them crap. When they went on the "you're selfish" tirade, I told them to get lost. The next morning, I got a call from my dad telling me they were disappointed in me. I simply hung up. The one family member who has stood by me is my youngest sister. She actually has her stuff together and I could not be more proud of her. So let me ask you guys, do you see what OP is doing here as selfish, or do you think they're justified? Let me know yes or no and why in the comments down below. Our next story is by moy-moi. Entitled Parents enters my store and demands the police be his lawyers instead of taking his kid to the hospital. So this happened about 6 years ago when I was working at a retail store next to a restaurant that I have no idea how it managed to stay in business. It was notorious for serving expired/rotten food with no flips given about it. One day I was at the counter when a man charges in with his family in tow. His wife is carrying a child infant in one hand and holding the hand of a little girl with the other hand, who looked to be about 5 years old and quite upset. Man says, "Can I use your phone? I need to call the police." I say, "Oh, are you okay?" "The restaurant next door poisoned my daughter. She started projectile vomiting because of the food. I want to sue them." I say, "Oh no, do you need 911? We can call for you." I look over and the poor kid was crying, understandably, and was clutching her mom's hand. "No, I want the police." Not sure why he wanted the police if he wanted a lawyer, and also not sure why he had come into the store when he should be taking the kid home or to the hospital. This guy seemed to have terrible priorities. Now, the daughter just wanted to be comforted by her dad, who was too busy on the phone. She just wanted to be cuddled by people she loved, but no. This guy had to call the police to sue. I saw her try to go up to him, but he kind of shooed her off and then the mom took her hand again. My heart sank for her. I just wanted to take care of her since her parents were clearly not. So he called the police, and this is what I heard. "Yeah, I want to speak to someone about restaurant name. They served my child rotten food and it's made her sick. ... No, I don't want 911. ... Well, I want to sue them. Yes, I did mean to call you. What are you going to do about it? Ugh." It was clear the police ended the call on him. Fuming, the man took his family and left. Never found out what happened, but that restaurant is still there. I think the little girl ended up being okay since I didn't hear anything about it in the local news. I sure wouldn't be surprised if she became a regular on the Insane Parents subreddit. You know, if your child is having a medical emergency, you think you would attend to that and deal with that first, rather than try and get the police or the lawyers so you can sue somebody. And if your child is in medical distress, having that hospital visit record I would think would be way better for you than trying to call a lawyer right in the moment that she's throwing up and not feeling well. Our next story is by TaraJo. Give my kids your Switch. Wow. I've had some mild experiences with entitled parents, but nothing like this. So even with a quarantine going on, we have to do things like grocery shopping, going to doctor's appointments, or laundry. I just got back from the laundromat and, oh boy, I wish I had gone on another day. When I go to the laundromat, I usually bring my laundry in a big tote bag that I carry detergent in. Since laundry involves a lot of time just sitting and waiting, I also decided to bring my Switch Lite with me so I can play Pokemon Shield while my clothes wash and dry. So I put my clothes in the washer, sit down on a seat, and pull out my Switch. Two kids, looked to be brother and sister, about 7 and 9, came over. They were entranced by my Switch and the Pokemon and everything. They didn't really say anything though. Fast forward a few minutes and my clothes are done being washed and it's time to put them in the dryer. So I put my Switch in my tote, which I have over my shoulder, and move my clothes from the washer to the dryer. Then I go to sit down and I notice that the Switch isn't in my tote anymore. I just glanced around the laundromat and, sure enough, the two kids who were so enticed by my Switch now had one of their own. Little pickpocket brats. I walked over to them, grabbed my Switch, they weren't paying any attention to me, and said, "This is mine." The kids looked scared and shocked, but didn't say anything, so I assumed that would be the end of it. Boy, was I wrong. I went to go sit down and that's when their mother, entitled Mom, came over. She was mad. "Why did you take that from my kids? Why did you yell at them?" She hissed at me. "What?" I asked. "Give that back," she demanded. "They had my Switch," I told her. "It's mine. I even put a label with my name on the back." I showed her the back where, sure enough, there was a label with my name on it. "You don't say my kids are stealing. You don't raise my kids," she huffed at me angrily. I never said that in the first place, but I didn't want to argue with her. "Okay, I'm sorry about that. It won't happen again." Entitled Mother looked pleased with herself. "Okay then, give it back to them." "What?" I asked. "The game. Give it back to them," she responded. "If you're really sorry, you'll give it back to them." I looked at her like she's crazy. "No, this is my game. I paid $250 for it." She started getting mad again. "You're a grown adult. Why do you need a game like that?" "I'm not going to give them my game," I told her. This is when the attendant came over and broke things up. I didn't hear or pay much attention to what she said to Entitled Mother. I just went to the other side of the laundromat to put some distance between myself and her. Whatever the attendant said, it kept Entitled Mother away from me. I was able to let my clothes finish drying and get home. I decided to wait until I got home to fold laundry this time though. Didn't want to spend any more time around Entitled Mother than absolutely necessary. With a reaction like that, I bet it was her idea to try to pickpocket. Who knows, maybe she's got her kids trained to pickpocket people in the laundromat when they visit, I don't know. The next story is by Imaginary Broccoli 6, entitled Mother Disagrees My Lifestyle Choices. Friday was a weird encounter, but at least it ended happily. This is by far the only entitled parent I have ever met that hasn't resorted to violence to get her point across. On to the story. I came home and saw a child. The child was pretty much copying the way I was walking. I thought it was hilarious. I normally don't like children, but she was adorable. I heard yelps of worry and saw the mother going to her child. I didn't think much of her as she seemed like any typical worried mother. Sorry, she has the tendency to wander around. You're pretty tall for someone like you. I say, yeah, these heels are pretty high. I think about 7 centimeters tall. Entitled mother goes white. Why is your voice so deep? Because I'm actually a man in drag? Yes, I came from work in full drag. That lifestyle is sinful, you know, especially in this country we are in. I don't recall, home country, had any problem with people in drag. Besides, I'm wearing makeup and full female business attire. I'm not harming anyone and my work has no problem with it. She says, what sort of workplace allows F words, let alone trans, to work in such a place? Look, lady, I don't understand why you are so upset. This is what I like to do. I only do it every Friday. For the record, I am not trans. When with no makeup, you wouldn't expect me to be the same person. So that means I would be seeing you more? Yeah, I live here, so... I'm disgusted. This apartment rents to creeps like you, grabs her daughter. Find Jesus already and change your lifestyle, you creep. Entitled mother stomped off. Phew, glad I dodged a bullet. Thankfully, she won't be my neighbor. I think it would be a surprising sight, as it's not really something that happens too frequently, at least where I'm from. But like, who's it bothering? Who's it affecting? Your kid obviously had no clue or any judgment about it. The only person that had a problem with it was the bigoted lady. The next story is by Fusion1718. My mom tries to kick me and my brother out. Cast. Entitled mother is my own mother. DB is demon brother. GB is good brother. Yes, you read the title correctly. She actually tried to kick me out. It's not that eventful, but now you all know how I and my good brother ended up at my dad's, so let me set the scene for you. I had just gotten dressed, red hoodie and jeans for those who are wondering. I walked into the kitchen, first one up by the way to have some Weetabix. I hear my good brother's door shut, so he walks fully dressed with a bag full of stuff. Just so everyone knows I went to bed early the night before. I say, where are you going? Good brother says, Mom said we have to leave. I say, what? Put that bag down, wait till Mom gets up, let me talk to her. He sits down, we read some stuff on Reddit. About an hour later, Mom gets up. I thought I told you to leave. Why do we have to leave? You're not helping out enough. Where are we going to go? I don't care, just leave. Good brother says, can you at least wait until we have something to wear to go? I'll give you an hour and you, meaning me, go back your stuff, take everything you want to keep. I'm throwing the rest away. Me, silence. I know you heard me. Go, and you, good brother, go wake up demon brother. I go pack my stuff, and good brother wakes demon brother up. Well, have you got anything to wear to go yet? I just texted Dad he is going to come get us. Before you go, give your little brother your PlayStation. No, it's mine. I'm taking it with me. Liar, it belongs to him. I bought it for him. Now give it to him. Demon brother says, PlayStation, PlayStation. I say, Mom, I saved up for half this PlayStation and Grandma went halves with me. You had nothing to do with it. Lies. Everything you have I paid for. Now give it to him before I take it. No, Mom, you don't. Now leave me alone while I wait for Dad. If you ever come back in this house again, I'll burn everything you own. She seriously said this. Why would I go back to the woman who is obviously crazy? Come on, good brother. Dad's here. Good brother says, coming. I say, hey, demon brother, if she ever gets too much for you when you get older, you can always come live with me. So this story was a little dysfunctional to read and follow, but you can very clearly see the dysfunctional family situation going on here, and it's just hard for me to believe that there's parents who just don't really care about some of their kids like this, ones that obviously pick favorites. And our final story of the day is by maryrosetudor, entitled Mother Drops Her Spawn Off at a Daycare He's Not Even Registered At. So yeah, backstory. From about 2018 to 2019, I worked at an after-school program with a church that also functioned as a private school. I worked mostly with the after-school kids ranging in ages from 5 to 12. I mostly worked with the older kids who were about 10 to 14. The school also had a daycare/nursery. I hardly interacted with the daycare, but sometimes I would have to sub for a teacher who was running late or couldn't come in. This story was one of those rare times I had to sub for a teacher in the daycare, and just a combination of everything going wrong. I also guess this would be an I don't work here lady story too. When working at the after-school program, it was a part-time gig since I was only there from about 1 in the afternoon until the last closing time, which was 6 o'clock. It was nice since I could sleep in and do my schoolwork. It was a great setup. And 90% of the kids and parents were great. Hardly any of them were entitled. And not gonna lie, I miss my kids a lot. But very rarely I would get called into work to sub for a teacher in the daycare. Now, a quick note here is that the daycare was run by the church. The after-school program was run by the school. They were separate entities. But sometimes the daycare would call teachers from the after-school to sub for the daycare sometimes. It was never a problem since the daycare workers were really nice, showed us how to handle toddlers and babies. Anyway, I said yeah, I would watch this class of 4-year-olds while their teacher was at a doctor's appointment. No biggie, it shouldn't be more than an hour. Like at most daycares and my after-school program, you have to register your child if you want them to attend daycare or the after-school program, and that way their name can be added to roll. Also, every time you come to pick or drop off your child, you have to sign them in and out. The same applies to visitors. So I go sign in the sub list, go to the classroom, and do a quick roll call. I have a total of 8 kids. Cool beans. 2 hours go by. Their teacher is still a no-show, and I am doing my best teaching their Bible lesson. 9:30, the kids are in their stations playing, taking a break from their reading lesson. The door opens, and the devil and her spawn come in. Like I said earlier, I have no clue who these kids are, but I do have my role. The devil Karen walks in, ushers in Spawn in. Karen comes in after Son. Before I even had a chance to speak to him and ask his name, Karen turns to me and says, "Are you the teacher?" No, I'm Miss Mary. I'm just subbing for Miss Lily, the regular teacher." "Fine. When is she going to be back?" "Hopefully in a little while. I don't normally work here. I work in the after-school program." "I was wondering, is your son new? I don't see his name on the roll." "Oh yes, we registered yesterday." Me, a little wary, okay. I'm sure he'll get added to the roll in the coming week." "Okay, well I'll be back around 8 o'clock to pick him up." I stop as she leaves for the door. "Ma'am, you can't leave your son here after 6 o'clock. It's state law." 80% sure this was true. "Okay, fine." And Karen drew out "fine" like I just asked her to take out the garbage. As she walks out the door, Spawn is playing with the kids and getting along just fine. But part of me was just wary, like something didn't settle right with me. I grabbed the walkie-talkie and radioed the supervisor asking if Miss Lily's class was expecting a new kid. She said no. Thankfully, I had messaged her just as Karen was walking out the door. The supervisor said to bring Spawn to the office. He was sad, but I explained we had to see Mama. I take him to the office after asking a teacher to step in while I was gone. When we got about halfway down the hall, I hear, "What do you mean my son can't be here?" Supervisor says, "Your son is not registered with our daycare. We cannot accept him." "But this is a daycare." I walk in at this point with Spawn in hand and she points to me. "Well, she let my son in the room." Supervisor says, "I know, but she is a sub, but she has to go by the roll. Your son was not on the roll, nor is he enrolled here." "I'm sorry, Miss Karen, but you and your son have to leave." Spawn is upset at this point because he was getting along with some of the kids. But Karen being Karen just started back up. "This is a daycare. You have a no discrimination policy. You have to accept my son." Supervisor says, "Ma'am, you are right. We have a no discrimination policy, but you have to schedule a tour and an interview in case you want to enroll your child here. This does not mean it's a walk-in daycare. Please just leave." I'm just standing there with Spawn holding my hand. She snatches Spawn from my hand and swears, This will not be the last time you hear from me. The supervisor tells me to go back to the classroom and not to worry that I made a good call about the mom. The rest of the day goes by smoothly. I go to my real job without a worry. The next day, the supervisor emailed with an update about Karen, pretty much saying, "Hey Mary, just wanted to let you know that you did a good job yesterday handling that lady." And yes, she did call the director of the daycare, trying to get us in trouble for discriminating against her because, guess what? She's Italian. I mean, of all the things, but I digress. The director said that we don't have to worry about anything and that you are more than welcome to sub here more often. The kids love you. Have a good rest of your day. I don't officially know what happened to Karen, but I do know from the email the director told her to shove off. I mean, I think it's pretty clear. For a daycare, you have to make proper appointments. You have to actually be registered. How many daycares are there that you can just walk up to, drop your kid off, and walk away? In fact, that's incredible neglect for your child. But with that being said, that's all the time we have for today. So if you have a favorite story of the day, let me know which one and why in the comments down below. But besides that, if you enjoyed the video, please consider giving it a like and subscribe if you haven't. And make sure to click the bell to turn notifications on too so you'll never miss an upcoming video. No matter what you did, whether it was liking, commenting, subscribing, thank you for supporting me right here on the Storytime channel. It all helps the channel grow immensely, so thank you so very much for supporting me. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and until next time, I'll be reading even more stories to share with you guys right here on the Storytime channel.